And people don't realize though, what's good with it? Black Goose TV family, excuse me. I was talking about some shit before we went into this, man. I'm feeling a certain way about some certain shit, but I'm not going to bring that energy into this video. I just want to ask y'all a simple question when it comes to the boxing side of the game. Get your guys' opinion, see how you feel, and then get the fuck up out of here, okay? Because I'm not trying to be long-winded, because as you guys can already see if you're watching this, Xfinity, as always, it ain't nothing new. They got problems with me. They got problems with me like I fucked they bitch or something like that. So I'm dealing with that. So hopefully it's not too bad on the rewatch side of the game. And if it is, just bear with me. Listen to the audio. You already know I'm going to give y'all something that y'all going to want to discuss, talk about, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and move this thing as quickly as possible and get this thing moving forward. Chris Eubank Jr. has some words for Triple G, and I do not blame him. Boxing family, I don't blame him at all. Look, when it came to Chris Eubank Jr., we were trying to figure out what is going to be his next step, right? He's had a resurgence, right? He's had a revival of his career working with Roy Jones Jr. He's basically taken on the stylistic approach as Roy Jones. He looks like a completely different fighter, but he also looks absolutely amazing every time I watch him. Now, other people may have criticisms of him. Other people may say, hey, you're fighting you're basically fighting stylistically like you've never fought before. You're trying to be too much like Roy. Blah, blah, blah. Me personally, hey, if it works, then why the fuck are you trying to fix it? If he's won his previous fights with this new stylistic approach that Roy Jones has gave him, which is very similar to Roy Jones's old style, why are we so quick to say, hey, that I don't like what I'm seeing. Like, why are you fighting this way? Like, people are so quick to dismiss something because, especially in boxing, everyone wants to be a boxer trainer. Everyone wants to act like they know everything. So they're saying, like, if your hands isn't up, if your elbows aren't tight, if you're not throwing a jab and it's coming right back to your hand, if you're not making sure that everything is fundamentally appropriate, you're doing it wrong. But like, that's coming from people who have never actually done the sport, and they don't understand when you perfect something, or at least when you get to a skill. If you master a skill. Once you master the skill, now you have the ability to play with it and be able to create it and make it your own. So despite you seeing this person being very successful at the skill, you might see things that go against what the universal law of that skill is, which anytime you throw a jab, bring it right back to your face. Always have your hands up. Always have everything tight. Where you may watch a fighter and they're loose with it. They got their hands down and they're throwing here, but that's because they have mastered the skill to a point that you'll never understand it. So because you don't understand the mastery of the skill, you don't understand how they're able to be creative with the mastery of the skill. So you're stuck saying, well, he doesn't keep his hands up, so he's not that good. And it shows how simplistic minded you are. And it shows how intermediate you are when it comes to this level. When it comes to this game, when it comes to this sport. And this is not me trying to be an asshole or nothing like that. I'm just trying to let you guys know, a lot of you watchers, fans, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that are so quick to criticize the technique of someone who's been doing something for years, right away. For me, when I see that, I'm like, I don't care about your opinion, because you're basically saying, hey, I have disdain for somebody doing something consistently over a matter of time and how they perfected it. And you're saying my way is the right way, but you've never implemented it yourself. You're just going about he say, she say. Oh, I read off the internet that as long as your hands is here and your hands is here, that's the only way to box. What you don't know is what you think you know. And then when you're brought with new information, you try to reconfirm what you already know to debunk the new information, to be like, oh, there's no way that can be the possibility. There's a way for everything, folks. Your way isn't the highway. There's a million different ways to be great in this life and to be great in boxing, but people don't want to accept that fact. They want to say it's this way, and if it's not this way, guess what? You're doing it wrong, and I can say, hey, this is why my favorite fighter is better than yours. But as we found out over the past weekend, it don't work like that, baby. You may not know the fighter, but at least have an understanding of stylistic approaches and how a style can make a fighter not at his peak level inside the ring, because he doesn't know how or understand what to do to prevent that fighter from being able to utilize his greatest feature. Now, I'm being a little bit too long with it. I'm being a little too extra because I know I probably lost most of y'all, especially with Xfinity trying to fuck me. So I know I'm going in and out. You know what I'm saying? But anyone who's still riding with me, anyone who's still listening, I just want to ask you guys this. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Triple G. Now, Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez, they were supposed to fight after the Bivol versus Canelo fight, right? Canelo's supposed to beat Bivol, take his belt. Then we're supposed to see Triple G versus Canelo 3 on September for all the belts in the 168 division. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen because Canelo wants to rematch with Bivol, et cetera, et cetera. So now Triple G is kind of just chilling, waiting, and he has to figure out what he wants to do, especially after that impressive performance against Murata. Well, inserts Chris Eubank Jr. He wants to fight. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I would love to see that. I think that makes sense for Triple G. It's not too high of a risk. It's just enough of a reward to be like, why not? Chris Eubank Jr., it makes a lot more sense than the Kell Brook fight because it's in a weight class that you fight in, and it's also something that's going to add to your resume as far as legendary status because Triple G is currently trying to get the Canelo fight, and he's also, obviously, he's only lost to Canelo. So this fight makes sense to me for Chris Eubank. I would love to see this. I actually think Chris Eubank would have trouble, but I think it's the best time for Chris Eubank to call it out because he's athletically at his prime. The new stylistic approach with Roy Jones Jr. capitalizes off of his athleticism. And if there's anything that maybe you can take advantage of Triple G at his current age is the fact that he lacks that athleticism because he's older. Now, am I saying I'm leaning toward Chris Eubank? I'm not saying that at all. Triple G is a legend. I got Triple G all day. But this would be the perfect time for Chris. That's my opinion. But it's not about what I think. It's not about my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Y'all drop y'all opinion below. Let me know what you guys think about this potential matchup. Would you rather see Chris Eubank Jr. versus Triple G than a Canelo versus Triple G fight? Let me know below. Drop your comments. Like the video. Subscribe as always. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all don't know the type of motherfucking shit I had to go through just for me to put this out. So please support the channel.